The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. It's an exciting start on this Wednesday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And we begin this morning with a deadly shooting in East Bakersfield. It happened around 3:30 yesterday afternoon on Rembrandt Street near Center Street. Sheriff's deputies say that's where a man was shot and killed. No other information's been released. We'll continue to follow this story on our website, kget.com.
This morning, the man accused of shooting and killing a teenage boy is out of jail and free of any charges. Austin French is accused of killing 15-year-old David Lopez III and has been released from jail with no charges. 17's Marco Torres talked to both the man who said he fired the shot and a key witness who claims she was at the center of it all.
Go trip on me, homie's gonna light your whole pan up, run up in there with your kids, dog. Just like we did Moses. Yeah. You're the
Threats, vandalism, and terrorism all caught on camera. This is video from just minutes before the deadly shooting on Friday in the neighborhood on Pacific Street near Baker Street.
They tried to come and attack me. They jumped me. Well, tried to jump me. I closed the door to my car. My kids, my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old are in the car. Backseat, we're getting ready to leave. They kick in my door, my driver's side door. They try to break my window where my daughter was sitting in the back. Hit my driver's side window, threatened my life.
In this video, you can see 15-year-old David Lopez III run across the street with what appears to be a long stick or pipe. He jumps into an SUV that barrels towards 28-year-old Austin French, who came to help his pregnant friend, Angelina Cortez.
And she was very frantic. She's like, come outside, please help me, help me. I went outside, and then some people got in a car, drove at me, jumped out with weapons.
Lopez is shown on video leaving the SUV with that pipe or stick. Here you can see him making his way around another car to get into French's property, but that's when the video stops. A few minutes later, after French and his father are assaulted, which left bruises on their faces, French fires the fatal shot and Lopez lay dead in French's front lawn. It was just the latest in a long history of neighborhood violence.
There's been so many police reports. This police has never done anything about it.
Bakersfield Police Department told 17 News it won't comment about any ongoing investigation or on any other event related to it. Cortez said on Friday French warned the attackers and to back off before he fired. French was arrested at the scene. He was held over the weekend and released Tuesday for further investigation. We've been trying to reach the Lopez family for 2 days. We've sent multiple emails, messaged them on Facebook, and visited their home, but we have not heard back from them.
17th Marco Torres reporting. 5:06 is your time, and now in your Kern Court Watch, one of Kern's highest profile murder cases came to a tearful end when the family of a murdered teenager confronted the convicted killer who took her life. A judge ruled yesterday 26-year-old Armando Cruz should never leave prison. But the family of 13-year-old Patricia Alatorre said a miserable life behind bars isn't enough punishment.
He deserves more. What he did to her is a pain that I can't overcome. I don't have her with me anymore, so it hurts.
Cruz met Alatorre in 2020 through social media. He then drove from Inglewood to see the teen in Bakersfield. Police say Cruz blackmailed the girl, saying he would post inappropriate photos of her online if she didn't meet up with him. Cruz raped and killed Alatorre days later. He pleaded guilty to the charges so he wouldn't be sentenced to death.
Open enrollment for California's health insurance exchange is underway. This year, a change to an Affordable Care Act rule could benefit some 500,000 more Californians. The change makes it possible for someone to add family members to their employer's health care plan, even if their income is over the limit for a federal premium subsidy. However, a Covered California spokesperson says the change makes employer-sponsored health care coverage less affordable than what they can now get through the state exchange.
Today, Union Cemetery will hold an event honoring Dia de los Muertos. The Day of the Dead event will have altars to represent loved ones who've passed away. The altars will be decorated following the Mexican tradition of flowers and elegant skulls. There will also be dancers, food, and face painting. The event's free and open to the public and kicks off at noon. Well, would you like a grade with that? It opened a week ago, but we got our first look at the Kern High School District's Regional Occupational Center as they opened their cafe and bakery, all operated by students in the Culinary Arts program. There are about 120 students in the program who are all juniors and seniors. Morning students focus on making breakfast, coffees, and smoothies, and afternoon students focus on making lunch. Students put their skills to the test with a real-life work environment under the guidance of their instructors. Applications for the program are currently open.
They go to roc.kernhigh.org and register for our program and see if they get selected. There is a selection process. Not every student gets picked for any of these programs on campus.
The Culinary Arts program tends to fill up every year, and students are encouraged to sign up now. ROC's Cafe and Bakery is open to the public, and to make a dining reservation, call 396-4920. 17 News is your local election headquarters. We're now less than a week until Election Day. 6 days until the midterms. And while we call it Election Day, it's now more of an election deadline, as mail-in voting has been underway in Kern County and across California for nearly a month. As we count down the days to November 8th, we're taking a closer look at voter turnout and what it could mean in this midterm contest. 17's political reporter Maddie Gannon explains.
1 week from November's midterm election, as the mailers pile up and the TV ads hit a peak, perhaps the most crucial question remains: how many voters will actually cast a ballot? In June's primary, Kern County had the 5th lowest turnout in the state, with only 26% of registered voters handing in their tickets. But when you break it down by party, the divide is clear.
For a Republican voter who has seen what's going on in this country and wants change, they're anxious to vote, and they're going to be even more anxious to vote this November.
36% of voters in Kern County are registered as Republicans, but according to the voter registration list in July 2022, a much higher percentage of people who voted in Kern in the June primary were members of the GOP, about 50% to be exact. On the other side, about 35% of registered voters in the county are Democrats, but only about 30% of voters in the primary belong to the Democratic Party.
It's very difficult in a midterm election to turn out your base once you have the executive office. Once you have your party member in the White House, it really kind of lulls to sleep a lot of folks.
Both Democratic and Republican analysts Neil Sinapa and Kathy Abernathy note midterm elections are typically a referendum on the party in control of the White House, with Abernathy pointing out, with President Biden in the Oval Office, the GOP is motivated to make change, while Sinapa says Democrats don't have a figure like former President Donald Trump on the ballot to invigorate them.
There is this sense, what I will call a false sense of security by some Democrats.
But one of the most controversial turnout figures is simply how voters hand their ballots in, with some members of the GOP expressing concerns over the practice of universal mail-in voting.
The mail-in ballots, that's just, to me, it's just a recipe for disaster.
In the June primary, although Democrats use the method more, well over the majority of voters in both parties voted by mail, with about 95% of Democrats and 89% of Republicans casting a ballot through the mail.
17's Maddie Gannon reporting. So far in Kern County, the Elections Department tells us they've processed about 25,000 ballots. That adds up to only 6% of all registered voters in Kern.
And just a reminder that our next and final debate is coming up tomorrow. The 3 candidates running for the Bakersfield City Council Ward 7 seat will be right here in our KGET studios for a live televised debate at 7 p.m. Facing off will be Tim Collins, Raj Gill, and Manpreet Kaur. If you have a question that you would like us to ask the candidates, you can send us an email at 17news@kget.com and type "question for the candidates" in the subject line.
The Bakersfield Police Department's asking for the community's help finding a 68-year-old man. William Castine was last seen Monday in the 6300 block of Barcelona Drive. He's considered at risk due to mental health conditions. He's 5'10", 230 pounds with gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information on where he may be, call BPD.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.